Hello, Appreciative Traveler here. I just want to take a quick moment to apologize to those of you who have subscribed to my channel in the past. I have not had content in quite a while. I have had content to post, just due to personal circumstances, I haven't been able to do so. So thank you for subscribing, and I do hope you will enjoy this video. This, of course, is a review of Margaritaville at Sea Paradise. We just got off a short 2-night cruise out of the port of West Palm Beach, which you will see in the video montage at the very end, a little bit of how beautiful it actually is. For those of you who haven't seen my videos, my husband and I have been on a variety of cruise ships: Disney, Carnival, MSC, of course, I love MSC, Royal Caribbean, even their mega ship, Utopia of the Seas. So we were a little concerned about going on a much older, much smaller ship, but most of our fears were actually alleviated. So it is, however, an older ship, and it does show its wear in some areas, even though it has been updated. Some of the areas that I noticed was in our room. We were in 7094 Ocean View Cabin, and the closet doors got progressively harder and harder to open and close as the cruise went on. And you had to shut it just right to open the drawer, or else it would get stuck. That was a little frustrating, but of course not the end of the world. Some of the furnishings, the stairwells, show its age. However, it is still a beautiful ship, and we had a wonderful time. Part of why we had a wonderful time was the staff. By far the majority were very friendly, very helpful, and some even exceptional, remembering our names even outside the dining room, which I don't think I've ever had that experience before. So we appreciate all of you that we met on our small, short journey. One of the other things I liked about it is it didn't ever feel overcrowded. Now, I did look on the website just before we left, and the suites were sold out. All the ocean views were sold out. The interior cabins, however, were not sold out. So I'm not sure where we were at as far as a full capacity, but nothing felt overcrowded for sure. The pools, the hot tub, the bars, dining, everything kind of flowed really well. So that was one plus that we noticed right away. Let's start with boarding. So there was a $49 express pass that I was considering getting. But like you, I watch a lot of YouTube videos. I also belong to Facebook, Margaritaville at Sea, Paradise Tips and Tricks. And so I read a lot before going and decided not to get the Express Pass. I think you will see, and of course this is just an opinion, that it wasn't needed. So here was my observation. Express Pass got on about 11:09. Now prior to that, kind of how the boarding process works is you all sit in signed sections. There's a VIP section, which will of course be your suites, which I believe there's only 10 to 12 of those, something like that, on the ship. And then next to that, I apologize, first are those with special needs get on the ship first. Then you're a VIP. So not only the suites, but also there's something you can purchase called License to Chill, and I believe it's Ultimate License to Chill. On our particular sailing, it was $3.99 and $4.99 respectively. So that was not something I was really even considering, but those two go first, then Express Pass. Then it goes by muster station. There are 3 muster stations. We were in muster station 2. And so it went Express Pass, muster station 1, and then us. And we were actually on the ship from the time Express started boarding till our time, about 10 minutes. I would stretch it to 15 at the most, but I believe we were on the ship within about 10 minutes. So that did not really make me want to have gotten the Express Pass. So I was glad I didn't. The next part, departure, disembarkation, was not an issue either. We always carry our own luggage off. I highly recommend that if you can manage doing so. It makes it so much quicker, so much easier. We basically got in line and the line just moved smoothly. It really never stopped. It was a very easy process to get off. So again, not worth getting the Express Pass. Our luggage got separated, but for both of them, got to our room by about 2:30. And so I just had a little backpack and I carried like all our little necessities, and we had our bathing suits, and we were ready to get in the hot tub pretty well right away, which we did. In regards to the hot tubs, now, you know I love MSC, but I do not love their hot tubs. They are not hot at all. As a matter of fact, when I get in them, generally speaking, I'm out fairly quickly because I'm chilled. They're basically pool water temperature with some bubbles. These hot tubs were true hot tubs. They weren't like super, super hot, but a nice temperature that you could get in. It felt good, relaxing, and you could stay in for a while. And it was just beautiful, very relaxing, looking out at the beautiful port of Palm Beach. Now, next up would be the cabin. So again, we were in room 7094, and that's an ocean view cabin. I learned that there are two types of ocean view cabins. One is a convertible twin. So you could have two twin beds or put them together for a king. The other is a queen size bed room. And so we opted for that because just from the videos that I watched, the king size bed seemed to take up quite a bit of the room, and there really wasn't a lot of room to move around, and does not have a couch or chairs to relax in. And that is something that we personally like to do at the end of the night. So we loved the queen bed, was just fine. And the two chairs, they were very comfy with a little table. We sat there at the end of the night with a glass of wine looking out our porthole, which is actually, you'll see in the video, quite a large round window. I don't know if I'd call it just a porthole. It's not small, it's quite large. And so we enjoyed that at the end of the evening. As well, I wanted to mention in regards to the cabin, the comfortableness of the beds. So again, love MSC. However, their beds to me are way too hard and not comfortable. These beds were more of a medium softness or medium hardness, depending how you want to look at it, and they were very comfortable. So another good point for MSC. I apologize for Margaritaville at Sea Paradise. Really enjoyed the room. It was very nice. Okay, so what could be an issue are the outlets. So from videos I've seen, it seems like the outlets can be in a different area depending on the room. For us, our outlets were on the left side of the bed, and there was one US standard plug and one USB. By the vanity section that you will see, there are two 220 volt outlets. Now, I had an adapter, but I did not have a converter. I will leave it to you. I've read or watched my own videos on the difference between the two and when you would need one. And I'll let you look that up to decide what you feel you need. I felt for the security of my electronic devices that I needed to have a converter, which I did not have. However, I did bring a small USB power strip with no surge protector with 4 extra outlets, and that worked out just fine for us. Next, I would like to talk about the dining room. This is one area where we personally felt the Paradise excelled. We loved every single thing that we had. We had salmon, we had shrimp, we had ahi tuna, we had a wonderful Jamaican pumpkin soup, and everything we had, was absolutely delicious. We did have dessert one night. It was tres leches cake, and that was actually delicious too. So it was moist and not too sweet, really delicious. Sometimes I've been on cruise ships. We don't eat a lot of dessert, but part of the reason is the cake seemed to be very dry. This was not dry at all. It was really delicious. The salmon, which I am not a big salmon fan, was nice and thick, juicy. It was delicious. I was pleasantly surprised. It was wonderful. So we really enjoyed that. One thing I really love about the dining as well is that there's no set time for dining. So you just kind of line up, and then, they'll bring you to a table when it's available. I don't know if it was our sailing, the time that we went. We usually went around 5:45, but we never waited. We got seated immediately, had wonderful wait staff. Shout out to Murat and Cynthia. They were really wonderful and made our dining experience just beautiful. And so we really loved Finn's dining room. Next part about eating, of course, is the buffet, which is where we had our breakfast and our lunch. And it doesn't have quite a bit of variety. That's kind of to be expected in a, sorry for the noise there. That's kind of to be expected in a ship that's small and there's not that many people. You can't expect them to have this huge variety of food. However, we were always able to find something that we enjoyed. Especially, I will say, to go see the sandwich section. There's at our sailing, there was a gentleman there making fresh paninis and wraps grilled, and they were absolutely moist and delicious. So we really enjoyed that. Highly recommend you checking that out. The next thing, of course, that you go on a ship for is the entertainment, and there was no shortage of that. They had your typical, trivia shows and your karaoke. But what really stood out to us was the theater show in the main theater. Was absolutely wonderful. Much smaller cast than you will be used to if you're on the larger ships. However, they more than made up for it in their talent and their energy. The cruise director was in like the entire show and drew the audience in through the entire show, and it just ended up being entertaining and so much fun. So don't miss the theater show if you go. It was really enjoyable. Next part of entertainment that I'm going to talk about is the nightclub. So I again read a lot about the nightclub on the Facebook page, and there were a lot of different views and different comments, and one in particular, a gentleman mentioned that it was all Latin on his sailing. The entire nightclub all the time was all Latin music, and he thought that for a cruise ship that there should be a bit more variety than just that. Well, my experience was just opposite. There was no Latin. It was all music geared toward, let's just say, people between 21 and 25, of which I am not, of course. But, and so it was really a true nightclub vibe, which I get it. It's a nightclub. And so that's fine. I guess I kind of agree with the gentleman on Facebook that because you're on a cruise ship, perhaps there could be a little bit more variety. But I was truly okay with it because it was touted as a nightclub. Where I did think there could be some improvement is we did have a white party on this 2-day cruise. Now, I don't know if it's different on 3 and 4-day cruises, but our white party was basically an extension of the nightclub. It was the same kind of vibe, the same kind of music, just people dressed in white. And I was comparing it to or expecting something more along the lines of MSC's white party, because truthfully, through all lines of cruise lines, MSC's white party is my absolute favorite thing to do. I just love it. The white linen tablecloths, the lights, the entertainment. They have dancers and they have a band and they play Caribbean music and they get everybody involved, no matter what age group you're in. Families are there and everyone is just having a blast. It's just so much fun for everyone across the board if you choose to participate, young or old. And so I was kind of expecting that kind of vibe, and it definitely was not. I truly feel, since the only party, at least on a 2-night, I'm not sure what else they have theme parties on the 3 and 4 nights, but that it could have been something that was more inclusive of the demographics that were on the ship, because it wasn't just young people. It wasn't just party people. There were, quite a bit older people. There were lots of families there. And so I really felt that the white party could have been more inclusive, because you are on a cruise ship with a variety of different ages and age groups, and that all of us, could have enjoyed it. So that might be one improvement that I would suggest. Lastly, I just want to touch on the movement of the ship, because it is such a small ship. I was very worried about the movement. It was projected that we were going to have about 19-mile-an-hour winds on Saturday. And so I was concerned. I brought my motion sickness tablets, but didn't end up having to use them. There is a short clip in the video montage at the end of seeing some of the waves that we could see from our room, just to show how the seas were pretty rough, and I really did not feel much movement. The only time I felt quite a bit of movement was for a very short time. I don't know what was happening outside. It was around 6:30 a.m. the morning we were coming back to the port, and it rocked so bad. There's a sliding door for the bathroom, and it slammed, you know, it rolled and slammed up against the wall and woke us up, which was okay because we had to get up because you got to get going on that last day. So that was all right. But that's the only time I really felt a lot of movement. Now, if you are really concerned and prone to motion sickness, I do encourage you to watch other videos, go on the Facebook pages, read the comments, so that you can get maybe a better idea and a more rounded out idea of how you might feel in the ship and what you might need to take, and if you'll be able to handle it. But for us, I really didn't feel any more movement than on the larger ships that we've been on, so I was surprised about that. So just to round it up as to everything that we experienced, my husband and I talked about it, and I'm going to give a very true and honest assessment of whether we would do it again. So just thinking about it, right? If we had the ability to do like a 3-night cruise instead of a 2, and could put $200 to $300, maybe more, into it, we could take a MSC cruise out of Port Canaveral. And if I had all those things together, I think that would be our choice, our preference. However, I will say this: we had an absolutely wonderful time on that 2-night cruise on the Margaritaville Paradise. We enjoyed it so much, and I would definitely do it again. So if you're going, have a wonderful time. Keep your expectations that this is a smaller ship and that you're just going to have fun and relax, and believe me, you will, because we certainly did. Until then, I hope you enjoy your travels, appreciate them, and I truly do appreciate our little 2-night excursion on the Margaritaville at Sea Paradise. Okay, there she is. First impressions, beautiful, but she is small. I guess we'll see. I just wanted to do a quick video. We're about the 3rd group in line, and we did not get Express Pass. There's so many people open, I'm glad I didn't spend the extra money. There's Express Pass, they got about just as many people ahead. Hey, here we are. Pool's not open yet, but hot tubs are. We're heading there shortly. Port of Palm Beach is absolutely beautiful. Look how beautiful the port is. Sorry to say, but it is much prettier than Port Canaveral. Love Port Canaveral, but it's much, much prettier. All right, here's to a good trip. Okay, this is Margaritaville Paradise, room 7094, as you can see, ocean view. And really nice size bathroom. Check out the counter space, quite a bit. And you got your rounded shower with your shampoo, conditioner, and body wash, and some nice shelving. You don't always get all 3 on these ships, so that was pretty nice. And come right across, and you've got your one closet side has a shorter area for hanging, and then some drawers. And then you come over to the other side, and then it's got the full length, if I can open it, closet area. Quite a bit of room, especially for these short cruises. You've got your safe up there, hair dryer, more drawers. Very nice. Okay, coming over here, you've got a nice little table, and the fridge is right there. And come over here, got another nice little table, like a vanity. You've got, let's see, what have we got here for, I think there's some USB ports here. Nope, these are lights. They are not USB ports. Okay. We do have, let me come back to that. You've got, I believe this is a queen size bed. The king size, you do not get the table with the 2 chairs. We opted for the table with the 2 chairs with the little smaller bed. We think that that would be really nice. We'd like to come back and sit in the room. Here you go on the side of the bed. There's a USB and a regular outlet. So all in all, quite a bit of room, and I like it. We'll let you know what we think of the rest of the ship. So this is the 5 o'clock somewhere bar. This is one of our first, actually our very first band that we're seeing. A nice steel drum band. Sounds beautiful. Beautiful view of West Palm Beach, Port of Palm Beach. Love it. Okay, we are at the Sail Away party. Check out the spot in the shade. Love it, love it, love it. And there's some over here in the shade. Those are cabanas they're charged for, but the parts that are not sectioned up, that's all free seating. Love it. Here's the Sail Away party. Here we go. So I just wanted to show, we have an ocean view, so I don't know how much you can see. It's not a balcony, but those seas seem to be pretty rough, and I honestly don't feel anything, and I'm really kind of surprised for a small ship. So I just kind of wanted to give you an idea. I mean, maybe you feel a little vibration, but I don't feel a ton of rocking. And we are on deck 7 in room 7094, just to give you an idea. This is the Euphoria Lounge. They have game shows in here, like trivia, and obviously a band, but nice comfy chairs. Come sit, relax, have a drink. Beautiful.